Starting off our list at number 10 is Nicole Polizzi, but the world knows her as Snooki. You would know all about her meltdown if you took part in Jersey Days, which meant you watched her reality TV show Jersey Shore when it aired every Thursday night. I was totally a part of those. In one episode on July 10th, 2010, the world got to witness her losing her cool to a point where she was arrested in Seaside Heights for disorderly conduct. The MTV star got incredibly drunk, and as we saw in the episode, all she wanted to do was go to the beach. Let's be honest, we've all been there where you're really drunk and just everything sounds like an awesome adventure to you. Well, hers was to go to the beach. However, while frolicking her way through the beach, she could hardly stand up. She was slurring her words, falling all over the place, her skirt was riding up, exposing her underwear to everyone, including children. She ended up getting arrested and spent the afternoon behind bars. During her time in jail, her BFF JWoww tweeted, "Going to bail Snooki out of jail. The things I do for this girl, I swear." She was released later that day. At number 9 is Chris Brown. The singer opened up during his documentary called Chris Brown Welcome to My Life about his assault on Rihanna that landed him in court back in 2009. During the documentary, he recalls the entire event where he punched Rihanna in the face and gave her a busted lip. He spares no details and says that she was fighting him just as hard, but admits, I quote, "I felt like an effing monster." This fight alone could be considered a moment when he lost his cool, but he said the relationship was always physical and violent. In March 2011, he was triggered during an interview with Good Morning America when Robin Roberts asked him about the 2009 assault. Apparently it struck his nerves, and after completing the interview, he stormed off stage in a rage and ripped off his shirt like he was the Hulk or something. He started hitting objects around him and even threw a chair at the studio window. So maybe it's safe to assume that he's got some anger management issues. After his initial arrest, he was actually put on 5 years probation and was ordered to attend domestic violence counseling. So here's hoping that he took all of that seriously and can get in a better mind space. Maybe he has. Swiping the number 8 spot is Kanye West. He had a meltdown on multiple occasions, but more recently took the world for a ride when he lost his cool on an episode of TMZ Live in 2018. During the interview, he was asked about some of his recent tweets where he made some controversial statements about things like Donald Trump and his own thoughts on slavery.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
One of the reporters at TMZ let Kanye know he wasn't impressed by some of the things he was saying, and Kanye went into a huge and very dramatic rant. He went off.
Do you feel that I'm do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
I actually don't think you're thinking anything.
He ended up walking away from the camera and into the TMZ office room where the reporter was sitting and argued with him about the controversial comments. The whole interview, Kanye walks around the TMZ office screaming his opinion at everyone, literally not even facing the camera, just going off on everyone who works at TMZ. And it wasn't just like a couple minutes of venting his emotions, the footage is like 13 minutes long. Next up at number 7 is Tom Cruise. He didn't have some kind of breakdown because he was mad or drunk. Well, that's not true. He kinda lost his cool one time and we just all assumed that he was drunk on love. The actor shocked the world back in 2005 when he starred on the Oprah Winfrey Show, acting crazy, hyper, and just all around weird. At one point during the interview, he started jumping all over Oprah's couch, professing how much he loves his then girlfriend Katie Holmes, who's now his ex-wife, by the way. Awkward. At first, his interview was playful and fun, and we could get on board with it, but then he just went a little too far. He later told Esquire when he was asked about the weird behavior, "I wanted the audience to be happy, but I'll take responsibility for my actions. Afterward, wild things were being said about me, and once they're in the air, there is nothing you can do about it." Look, Tom, all we're saying is you should just take it down a notch. Or 5. At number 6 is Charlie Sheen. Who could ever forget when he took the entire internet by storm in 2011 with his webcast Sheen's Corner.
Are you in Italyville still?
Yeah, I'm on Rome and people are giving me free luck.
Romato, ma spieganja.
Io do condotti.
Postagocci.
After the actor was fired from his long-term CBS show 2.5 Men, he did a live webcast where he shared all of his thoughts and feelings about it, and then some. His webcast was basically just a public explosion of anger as he stood there at his kitchen counter smoking a cigarette and his hair that looked like he hasn't showered in 12 days. He also held up a bottle of booze and admits to the camera that he hasn't had any breakfast yet.
Have you had your breakfast yet, my friend?
No, I'm smoking a cigarette and drinking something I won't reveal. Unless they pay me.
The whole stream, he basically just makes inappropriate jokes and acts all manic, blurting out random things like, phones were built by trolls. Looking back at it now, the actor admits that it was all because of his addiction to drugs and alcohol and also a side effect of steroids.
Hold on, I'm gonna drink the secret elixir down below the frame line. It's awesome.
He tells ABC News Good Morning America, I was doing way too much testosterone cream trying to get the old libido up. It metabolizes into basically a roid rage. He said sometimes when he looks back at it, he thinks, dude, what the hell was that? But then other times he laughs and thinks, well, there's some good quotes that came out of it, right? Right. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Misha Barton. On January 26, 2017, the actress was hospitalized after neighbors called 911. The 911 call was recorded and footage of her acting out of whack was posted online.
I knew it. I knew it and I didn't want it. I didn't want anybody to know.
She was 31 at the time and was in her backyard hanging off her fence screaming and yelling incoherently. Barton's neighbors only called 911 because they thought the actress was on the verge of committing suicide based on some of the weird phrases that she was blurting out. If you listen to the 911 audio, they are concerned for her safety, saying, I quote, my dad's downstairs neighbor is hysterically crying in the backyard and says she's going to kill herself.
She's screaming and she keeps on saying, I just want to die. And then she's like, I'm going to kill myself.
Misha is so out of control that she ends up falling off the fence and hitting the ground, which is when the video ends. She voluntarily went to a hospital after that to receive psychiatric help. Misha later came forward after that saying she was drugged with GHB while having a night out with friends. However, her neighbors say that she does this sort of thing every couple of months. So unfortunately, I guess it just depends what side of the story you believe, but either way, it's just hard to watch someone losing all self-control like that, whether it's intentional or not. Here we are at number 4 with Shia LaBeouf. He's lost his cool more than once, but one incident really took his fans by surprise. Back in July 2017, he was arrested for disorderly conduct, obstruction, and public intoxication. But it wasn't until video footage of the actor was released that people were left in complete shock. TMZ released body cam footage which shows Shia cursing at one police officer, calling him different vulgatory names, and saying racist comments towards another officer. Shia tells a black officer, I quote, you've got a president who doesn't give a shit about you, and you're stuck in a police force that also doesn't give an F about you.
Why am I in custody? Why am I in custody?
Throughout the video, he continues to yell and make commotion, not only in front of police officers, but also in front of other witnesses and even children. It was reported that it all started outside when the drunk actor asked a police officer for a cigarette. Alright guys, at number 3 is Mel Gibson. He is another actor who could probably have his own top 10 list in this category, but we can't forget his one fall from grace back in 2010 when a taped phone conversation was leaked. In the audio, we hear the actor verbally attacking his then girlfriend with different profane and racial slurs. He was screaming horrible things like calling her, I quote, an effing pig in heat. He even went as far as threatening her, saying that she should be raped.
Yes.
Stay on this phone and don't hang up on me. I have plenty of energy to drive over there. You understand me? And I will! So just listen to me.
He calls her a number of different names and even brings up her body image, telling her that her breast implants look bad and that she should have them taken out. The two of them continue to argue, which leads them to talking about their kids, Mel telling her that she is an excuse for a mother. Throughout the phone call, you can hear her telling him that he's mean and that he needs to get help, which ultimately just intensifies his rage. It's a hard conversation to listen to if I'm being honest. The actor is just completely out of control. In spot number 2 is Christian Bale, another epic freakout moment that was caught on tape. There is no way you don't remember when the actor lost his cool on a crew member while filming back in 2009. During the filming of the Terminator movie, video footage leaked on the internet which captured the actor going off in a rage at one of the crew members. You can hear the actor yell and cuss for a few minutes at the crew member who apparently walked behind him while he was filming the scene. You can hear the crew member say that he was just looking at one of the lights, which is his job, but Bale continues to cuss at him and calls him an amateur, telling him to stay off the effing set. The fight continues to escalate as Bale threatens to kick his ass and trash his lights. He even goes as far as saying that he will quit the movie if this crew member is still hired. Since the incident and footage went viral, the actor has apologized, calling it inexcusable, and admitted that he acted like a punk. He said, I quote, "I was out of order beyond belief. I make no excuses for it. There is nobody who has heard the tape who has been hit harder than me." Well, maybe you and the crew member? Number 1 on our list is the one and only Britney Spears, and rightfully so. When she lost her cool, the whole world basically flipped upside down in utter confusion and shock. Back in 2000, Britney spiraled out of control and was making headlines for a bunch of crazy different things. Driving with her young child on her lap, vandalizing a vehicle with an umbrella, collapsing to the ground in clubs, and shaving her head bald. It was on February 16th that the blonde walked into a salon with 2 bodyguards and asked for a buzz cut. The hair salon owner was suggesting that she might regret it, so the singer just picked up a razor herself and began to shave off her hair. Paparazzi and a crowd of people watched the whole thing go down from the salon window. The singer had this kind of crazy weird smile on her face the whole time. The bodyguard ended up handing the owner $50 for the $45 rate for the buzz. At least someone had their head on straight. Right after leaving the salon, she went to Body and Soul Tattoo Parlor with her hoodie covering her freshly buzzed head and pulled up her sweater to get 2 new tattoos on her hip and wrist. After her wild behavior was over, she completely left the spotlight, and we didn't hear much from her until 2008 when she made an epic return with her hit single, It's Britney.
Starting off this countdown, we have Miley Cyrus. In 2011, Miley Cyrus was leaving a restaurant in West Hollywood with her mom when the paparazzi came rushing up towards them. One of the pops ended up brushing by Miley's mom to get a better shot at Miley, and she did not like that one bit.
What the heck? Are you serious? There you go, calm down. You just hit my mom. I didn't hit your mom. Yeah, you just ran into my mom with your camera. You just ran into my mom with your camera.
Miley got very defensive for her mom, telling the paparazzi off. She said, and I quote, "You just hit my mom with your camera. Don't you ever do that again. You just almost hurt my mom. Don't you ever even think about it for real." Now, I personally don't think Miley did anything wrong here. She's a strong woman concerned for her mom's safety. In fact, Miley has never feared the paparazzi. She's even called them out a number of times and has expressed how frustrated she feels with how intrusive they are. In our 9th spot today, we have Alec Baldwin. Boy, oh boy, when hasn't Alec Baldwin got into a fight with the pops? It happens so frequently that I've literally lost track. One incident occurred in 2013 in New York City. Apparently, Alec got upset with the paparazzi and flipped out at them. It ended with them shoving each other, and the police actually was called. The Pops argues that he was just doing his job, asking him normal questions, when Baldwin just flipped out. A couple months prior to this incident, Baldwin got in another altercation with a photographer after they asked him about a lawsuit regarding his wife. Baldwin has also been known to cuss out paparazzi. He has been caught calling them vermin and anti-gay slurs. The most recent altercation occurred in 2021 in New York City after the fatal Rust shooting he was a part of. The paparazzi was hounding him with questions, and Alec, who had an umbrella in his hand, kind of just came at him, pointing it. Then quickly he retreated inside. Now, this is quite tame to the other stuff that he's done to the paparazzi in the past.
Mr. Baldwin, who's here?
Please go away.
This is not anyone's room.
In our 8th spot, we have Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is another celebrity that has had a number of run-ins with the paparazzi. Back in 2012, Bieber was out with his then-girlfriend Selena Gomez when he got into a fight with the paparazzi. It resulted in him attacking the paparazzi, and he lost his hat and one of his shoes during this altercation. The police and an ambulance were called to the scene, but the man was okay and didn't press any charges. Then in March of 2013, Bieber got into another fight with the paparazzi. This time it happened while he was in London. Allegedly, Bieber pushed the man out of his way while trying to make it to his car. The photographer got mad and said, "F off, back to America, effing little moron." That's when Justin lost his cool. He opened the car door and just went after this man. He said, "I'll effing beat the F out of you." Obviously, he didn't just say F, like he said the actual curse word, but wow, Bieber, wow. In our 7th spot today, we have Russell Brand. In 2010, while Brand was dating Katy Perry, the two were spotted headed to his car after a date night. It actually is very uncomfortable to watch. Like, you can tell Katie is so uncomfortable with everyone just around her and asking questions and snapping photos. As the pair gets into their car, Brand gets very frustrated that the paparazzi are still following them. So he jumps out of the car and proceeds to shove the paparazzi out of the way. He also started to threaten them. In fact, after this altercation, Brand was arrested for battery. He was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport after attacking one of the photographers. According to Brand, though, he got mad at this photographer because he spotted him trying to shoot up Katie's skirt. So he was just trying to defend his fiancée. In our sixth spot, we have Kanye West. Kanye West is another celebrity that has come after the Pops on a number of occasions. He's not afraid to push them out of his way or cuss them out. But one encounter in 2013 got very, very violent. Kanye got physical with a photographer at LAX when he kept hounding him with questions. Kanye got upset with him and lunged at the camera, trying to take it out of the Pop's hands, putting him into a headlock and getting him on the ground. And the other photographers capture this moment. The photographer reportedly was sent to the hospital after this altercation.
Moments later, as Kanye lunges at the photographer, who records the entire incident. Photos capture the dramatic confrontation. This one of Kanye apparently trying to wrestle the camera out of the paparazzo's hands. And here, Kanye appears to put the paparazzo in a headlock.
Now, apparently, this is the same guy that Britney Spears got in a feud with a few years ago as well, and banged up his car with that umbrella. Like, this dude needs to find a new hobby. We are now at our fifth and halfway mark with Jude Law. According to paparazzi Harsha Gopal, she was taking photos of Jude Law when he turned around and just smacked her across the face. This occurred in 2009 as Jude was leaving a restaurant in London. She says that the attack was completely unprovoked. She was with fellow paparazzi when Jude just turned around and struck her. Jude, on the other hand, claims that it was completely accidental. He claims that the camera lights were so bright that he couldn't see, so he raised his hand to cover his eyes and accidentally hit someone. People managed to capture this moment on film, and is Jude telling the truth? Was it an accident? I don't know. Well, Harsha had this to say, and I quote, "It was deliberate. You could see it in his face. Maybe he didn't realize he was hitting a girl, but he could at least apologize," end quote. In our fourth spot today, we have Lindsay Lohan. In 2010, Lindsay Lohan got heated after paparazzi swarmed her car while at an airport in Milan. So she decided to roll down her window and chuck a drink at them.
Damn, oh Lindsay, don't do that, that hurts. Why are you throwing cans on people? Are you okay? That's beer.
The Pops then proceed to harass Lohan, asking why she had a beer in the car with her in the first place. Now, this isn't the first time that Lohan has thrown stuff at the paparazzi. In 2009, Lohan was greeted with paparazzi waiting outside of her gated home. They were lifting their cameras over her fence so that they could take pictures of her. So Lindsay decided to throw eggs at them. Sadly, none of the eggs actually hit them. They just landed on the ground, by them, or on her driver's Rolls Royce. In our third spot today, we have Prince Harry. When Prince Harry was younger, he was a rebellious bad boy. He got caught doing a number of scandalous things. One of them being getting into a fight with the paparazzi. Now, as we know, a number of celebrities get in fights with the paparazzi, but for a member of the royal family to get into a scuffle, it's like 10 times worse because of their title. They have to act royal at all times. Anyways, when Harry was 20 years old, he was leaving a nightclub when he got into a fight with the paparazzi who was waiting outside. It resulted in Harry punching the guy in the face. Now, Harry claimed that he was just defending himself, but the paparazzi has a different story. He says that the attack was unprovoked. He was just doing his job. Harry got mad at the cameras being up in his face and he took a swing at him. In our second spot today, we have Hugh Grant. In 2007, actor Hugh Grant went off at the paparazzi. At around 10 a.m., Hugh Grant got mad at Ian Whitaker, which is one of the paparazzi members, who was waiting outside of Grant's home. He was just trying to snap a few photos of him and his ex-girlfriend, Liz Hurley. Now, I guess Grant was not having it because next thing you know, he's kicking and attacking the photographer. Allegedly, he kicked him 3 times before kneeing him in the groin. To top it all off, he picked up a family-sized tub of beans and threw it at the photographer. He was left covered in bruises and baked beans. To top it all off, as the photographer was limping away, Grant apparently asked him if he had kids. The photographer said yes, too. And Grant replied with, "I hope they die of effing cancer." In the end, Hugh Grant was arrested for assault. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Sean Penn. Now, if you know Sean Penn, then you know that he does not like paparazzi at all. In fact, he doesn't even like it when fans take photos of him. But that's a whole other story on its own, because he literally broke a fan's phone for taking a photo of him. Anyways, in this incident that occurred back in 2009, Sean was headed to his car when a photographer was standing close by. Out of nowhere, he walked up to the man, kicked him in the leg, and then broke his camera. As a result, he was charged and sentenced to 36 months of probation, including 300 hours of community service. I mean, I understand where these celebrities are coming from. Like, imagine having a bad day and someone's up in your face taking photos. Like, you'd go crazy not having any private time. So I get why they would lash out.
In at number 10, Jennifer Lawrence. Let's start with one that's a little more funny than sad, because most times as celebrities lose their cool, it's not pretty. Jennifer Lawrence had just won an Oscar for The Silver Linings Playbook and was playing it pretty cool during her interviews, all things considered. But when legendary actor Jack Nicholson suddenly surprised her, she did her very best to keep her cool. However, the moment that he left, she completely lost it. But for the most part, Jude Law did a great job of just joking around with him. I mean, she waited until Jack left and then just dropped her calm and collected persona. The best part is that after she thought that he had walked away, Jack came back with sunglasses on and scared her again. I think I would have an anxiety attack if Jack Nicholson just appeared beside me. I'd probably ask him to say, "Here's Johnny," you know, just for my voicemail message. In at number 9, Jimmy Fallon. Now, Jimmy Fallon is married with kids at this point, but at one time he played it far too cool and missed out on dating Nicole Kidman. When he found out, all that coolness faded away and we discovered that Jimmy isn't actually cool, just blissfully unaware of his own allure. So much that he didn't even realize Nicole Kidman was hitting on him. You could just see him fall apart in shock when Nicole admits that she was hoping for more than a friendship. You see, Nicole was single at the time and actually really liked Jimmy Fallon, and when she was prepping for her role in Bewitched, she actually wanted Jimmy to play her love interest, Darren. Although Jimmy literally just thought that she was coming over to his apartment just to talk about the movie. In at number 8, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is without a doubt a legendary comedic actor, but all of those pratfalls he did in his younger years must have really turned him into a grumpy old man. He has earned himself perhaps the worst reputation in Hollywood from being extremely difficult to work with. I mean, when it works, but most of the time, he's a huge pain in the you know what. When actor and comedian Rob Huebel met Chevy at the Upright Citizens Brigade show, he was so excited that he accidentally interrupted a conversation that he was in. Now, Rob was a longtime fan and just couldn't contain his joy, but Chevy responded by slapping him in the face and then said, "Can't you see I'm talking to somebody, kid?" Now, I don't know about you, but I would call that losing your cool. Just slapping someone in public. Who do you think you are? Chevy Chase, that's right. In at number 7, Kylie Jenner. Because the Kardashians have been on television for so long, they naturally have become big-time celebrities. While that, and some work of their own, of course, has moved them to a spot in Hollywood where they are simply famous for being themselves. Kylie Jenner is typically the more business-savvy of the family and has proved herself by making big profits and thus garnering much more attention. While stepping out for dinner with some friends at Craig's in West Hollywood, a tween got a little too close for Kylie's liking and she completely lost her cool, like big time. In all fairness, it would be pretty annoying to have someone pulling on your clothes to get your attention, especially while there are dozens of cameras snapping and other people are just yelling questions at you. You see, being a celebrity is not a natural thing, and for one human to have this much attention on them is insane. Ludicrous, if you will. You can clearly see Kylie was fed up with it all, and in that moment, she just let her cool slip. In at number 6, Sean Penn. Sean Penn is no stranger to letting his true colors shine bright. In 2009, he assaulted a paparazzi and vandalized his car. He once served 60 days in jail for punching a background actor and had to do 300 hours of community service for kicking another photographer. Then in 2013, while he was at a restaurant in a swanky San Francisco hotel, he witnessed a guy trying to snap a photo and he freaked out again. Is Sean Penn secretly a vampire that doesn't want his soul removed from taking photos? Like, I don't get why he gets so frustrated. I understand how this could become very annoying after a while, but it still doesn't excuse this kind of disruptive behavior and losing your cool to this extent. According to TMZ, he walked over and slammed the man's phone on the table before telling him that he will make him eat his phone. Then as he was being escorted out, he screamed, "Do we look like zoo animals?" Yikes. In at number 5, Bruce Willis. During a press run for his film Red 2, along with co-star Mary Louise Parker, Bruce was noticeably annoyed that he even had to answer the interviewer's questions. Jamie Edwards from Britain's Magic 105.4 actually called it the most awkward interview that he's ever had. Apparently, Bruce was barely present while being interviewed, which led to this super cringy moment.
I ever told you this, Jamie? This part is not acting, what we're doing right now. You might be, but we're just selling the film now.
When asked which location he preferred while they were filming the movie, Bruce answered with Istanbul. The problem with this answer wasn't his dismissive tone, the problem was that the film never even filmed there. He just said a place that he liked, making that poor reporter's job even more difficult as he tried to maintain his composure. And for a guy that's well known to be an action hero, you'd expect him to be a little too cool for this interview, but I don't know about you guys, he seemed to lose his cool with this one more than anything else. In at number 4, Rihanna. Rihanna takes the cake for celebrities in Hollywood that lost their cool online. Rihanna found herself involved in a bullying scandal in 2010 after she attended the Echo Awards in this green cat suit dress with bat wings. I'm not a fashion expert, so don't quote me on that one. It's literally the only way I can describe it. Oddly enough though, this look was a huge hit with her fans, so people everywhere started, making their own versions. Unfortunately for 16-year-old fan Alexis Carter, she got to see her idol in a whole new light. When Alexis posted her photo trying to pay homage to Rihanna, she was bullied by a lot of people, including Rihanna, who actually posted this meme. Then just a few minutes later, she posted this meme. Like, can you imagine working so hard on making your prom dress look like Rihanna's, and then she just says it sucks via Twitter? What a time to be alive and such a random thing to lose your cool at. I wonder if Rihanna thought that this girl was making fun of her? I honestly don't know. All I know is at least celebrities are out here exposing themselves for us. In at number 3, Alec Baldwin. Yes, that is just the end bit of a string of harassing voicemails that Alec Baldwin would leave his daughter. More concerning was that she was 12 years old at the time. He actually called her a rude, thoughtless little pig. Why, you ask? Well, because she forgot to take his call at the time that they agreed upon. Look, I get if you're concerned for her safety and that's why you need the calls to check in, but she's 12. You don't scream at a kid like that. You shouldn't scream at anyone like that. And Alec actually took a ton of heat for this, to the point where he even contemplated suicide. Instead, he wrote a book called A Promise to Ourselves, A Journey Through Fatherhood and Divorce. The book detailed his long divorce that involved 90 court proceedings and $3 million in legal fees, as well as the alienation that he felt from his daughter after everything that had happened. Luckily though, years later, his daughter Ireland was able to roast her dad on Comedy Central. In at number 2, Michael Jackson. That is the king of pop hanging his baby blanket, yes, the baby's name is Blanket, out of a window, Lion King style. This guy consistently buried his controversies by just manufacturing new ones. He was blasted by everyone online, calling him reckless and pointing out that he could have easily dropped his child in that moment. And here was his vague apology.
And why would I put a scarf over the baby's face if I was trying to throw him off the balcony? We were waiting to thousands of fans down below.
And for someone that is called the king of pop, you would think that he would be able to keep his cool, although these moments clearly show a celebrity that is out of control and in Michael's case, in desperate need of help. Last but certainly least, at our number 1 spot, Michael Richards. Michael Richards is known for his role as Kramer on Seinfeld, and he's funny on that show because he literally had Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David writing for him. Although when the show ended, Kramer thought that he could just transition into stand-up comedy and be just as funny. Unfortunately, when his set was not going well at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, he completely lost his mind and his cool and buried his career. career. But someone heckled him, I guess, at one point, and then he went on a tirade by screaming racial slurs and attacking the audience, and it was so bad that a large majority of the crowd just up and left the club in the middle of his act. He was never able to redeem himself after this racist rant, and it will serve as a stark reminder that Kramer was never cool.